Okay. Practice speech. Hi, my name's Chrissy Hansen, and I had a hard time trying to pick a topic for this speech because the options were pretty much endless. However, Mr. Lee said to find something that drives or inspires us, and that's why I chose this particular topic. Today I'm going to introduce you to my mentor, Reverend Elane. So the 3 points that I'm going to talk about, because there were so many wonderful things to say about this incredible person, and to give you a brief description, I'm going to talk about how she breaks the traditional ideas of a pastor, the ways she made an impact on other people, and her thoughts about being a pastor. This is one of the best pieces of advice that she ever gave me. Don't drown your Mario. So first, I'm going to tell you how she breaks the idea of what a typical pastor is. First, from this picture, you can see that she has tattoos, which you don't see on a lot of pastors. She has this short, spiky hair, which for a female pastor is a little bit different. And with that, she's a female pastor. So in a lot of churches you don't see that because the elder people, the older folks of the churches usually don't think that it's okay to have a female pastor. They're becoming more common today, but in the past you didn't see it as much. As with everything related to Christianity, there's actually people that use the Bible to state why they don't think women should be in the pulpit. But in my opinion, biblical interpretation just causes a lot more problems than it's actually worth sometimes. Secondly, she breaks your typical idea of a pastor because she actually wants to get to know you. A lot of pastors you'll only see on Sundays. When you come to church, they'll say hi to you or whatever, and a lot of times you don't spend time with the pastor. And as you can tell, I picked some pictures where you can see that she actually enjoys listening to people and spending time and getting to know them. From my personal experience, she actually took the time to get to know me rather than just that Sunday morning hello. She listened to my stories, knew things that had hurt me from my past, why I hated church before I came to her church, and pretty much everything else under the sun you could possibly think of about me. She ended up knowing because I felt comfortable and I felt like she actually wanted to know me. The last way that I think she breaks the typical ideas of a pastor is that I feel like she pretty much has love for a lot of people. There's a couple of stories here. The angry man that punched the car, we were out for yogurt one day, just talking and hanging out, and we were driving back to the church, and she smiled at this man on the street, and he basically came over to the car and punched the top of the car, and I was just like, what the heck did you do? Why did that man come punch a car? And her response was just, that she smiled at him and that he was a hurt person. So she wasn't even pissed off that he punched her car. She pretty much was just he's a broken person, and she felt bad for him, that he was in that state of mind. And the second one was when I had actually just recently started working at the church, and this homeless man walked in. I'm assuming he was homeless, but he's just really dirty, kind of stinky, and he wanted money for food, and, he was talking about all these doctor's bills and things he had, and basically, she came out, and she just, talked to him and listened to him, you couldn't tell she was bothered by the smell or anything, and grabbed his hand, and just basically, prayed with him, and it was just really awesome to see, because a person's normal response to somebody like that is, I need to move away, the smell's making me want to vomit, or something like that, and, basically she took the time to pray with him and make him feel like, there was somebody out there who cared about him and loved him. So that moves us on to our second point, and I'm going to talk about ways that she's impacted other people. So here you can see she was the pastor at Campbell United Church of Christ, and this was for about 9 years. It is an open and affirming congregation, so that means that it allows all people, especially the inclusion of LGBT people. There's generally a rainbow fish outside that lets you know that you're welcome there. So she basically spent 9 years here teaching, guiding, and listening to an entire church full of people. Some interesting things I found out is that pastors today actually face more work, more problems, and more stress than they ever have before. And I actually found some shocking statistics. So 50% of pastors want to leave their ministry, but they feel like they can't because it's their only way to make a living. 70% feel extremely underpaid for what they're doing. 70% again are constantly fighting depression. And another 70% of pastors feel like they don't have a close friend, a confidant, or a mentor. And the list just basically continued. I mean, there was tons of statistics, and all of them were over like 50%, all the way up to like 80s and 90s. So you can see that 9 years of service as a pastor, would impact a lot of people, including her herself. This is a short video of a hate crime that actually happened at her church. She had been there for about 5 years. It happened in 2007, and the church was basically vandalized for its inclusion of LGBT people. The signs were destroyed with hate language, and basically her church, and this is the type of people that she taught, decided that their response to this was to go out and help the community. On the same day that they painted their sign, they took all their paint and tools and went out into the community and decided they were going to offer to help the community do some of their stuff. So I'll show a short part of this. It's actually kind of a long film, but I'll show a short part here.
In my People Like Us segment, I'll be interviewing Reverend Elane O'Rourke, pastor of Campbell United Church of Christ in Campbell, California. The church identifies itself as open and affirming, which means that it has publicly declared that LGBT people, or those of all sexual orientations, are welcome in its full life and ministry. It bespeaks a spirit of hospitality and willingness to live out that welcome in meaningful ways. Welcome to this segment where we honor the diversity of people in our community, People Like Us. I'm pleased to welcome Reverend Elane O'Rourke, pastor of Campbell United Church of Christ in Campbell, California. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really happy to have you here. Tell us, how long have you been the pastor of this church?
It'll be 5 years in November.
5 years. And about what the size is it? What is the size of your congregation?
We're about 80 in worship, about 100 on the membership rolls.
So it's relatively a small church. Mm-hmm. And tell us, just recently, there was an event which happened in your church,
yes,
which shook the whole community.
I think so. Just a few weeks ago, we experienced some vandalism with hate language on our sign. Our front sign has a rainbow fish on it, trying to show that we welcome everybody who's seeking Jesus. Mm-hmm. And sometime during the night, on a Saturday night, people came and they painted out the rainbow fish on both sides and painted hate language across the sign overall.
Yes.
And then the next day we had worship, and the congregation met together afterwards to decide how they wanted to respond to it.
Well, now, let's step back a little.
Okay, so that's just a short clip of the response to that. But like I said, what happened is they actually went out into the community and ended up, returning love to the community instead of responding in a hateful way. Which leads me to what she is currently doing. She's actually not a pastor anymore. She has moved away, and she has this new online spiritual direction program that she's doing, and it's on Facebook, so I put a little link there, so if you want to check it out, you can. And basically, it's her online presence and spiritual guidance for people, and it's basically spiritual direction. She's going to also be doing retreats and teaching people to be like Christ, but she's still working on all of it. So if you go on there, you can check it out. I really, I can't explain to you exactly what it is, but there's a lot of cool spiritual quotes that come across there, and you can also get in contact with her through that Facebook page to learn more about it. And to my last point, I actually got to spend some time asking her thoughts on being a pastor, so this was kind of fun. when I asked her why she became a pastor, she said she didn't actually want to be a pastor. She was working as a philosophy professor, and she actually gave up her tenured position to move to the Bay Area to be with loved ones. And she decided she was going to go to seminary because she wanted to learn more about God. And she explained that when you go to seminary, there's actually a pressure to become ordained. And so once she was ordained, she figured she might as well, become a pastor. Well, what else are you going to do with that, pretty much? So it kind of just happened. Next, I asked her favorite part of being a pastor, and she said that she actually liked the responsibility, the schedules, the deadlines, because it supported her own spiritual formation. And I think kind of the obvious thing of being a pastor that's kind of cool is she liked the privilege of being with people in their moments of great joy as well as the moments of sorrow. Funerals, weddings, all of those things where people are just experiencing extreme emotions. And lastly, which I have a picture of her doing here, she liked serving communion on Sunday mornings. Then I asked her why she thought even being a pastor was important, and her response actually stuck with me. I found it kind of interesting that she said, "I'm not sure I do." She stated that leadership is important and fulfillment of some of the priestly roles and duties are important, but she actually recognizes that all too often many pastors don't do these important things, or they just don't do them well. So that was kind of an odd response, but it's one of the things that I actually love about her is that she just, she's truthful about things. So, again, my name is Chrissy Hansen, and today I introduced you to my mentor, Reverend Elane O'Rourke, and we went over how she breaks the traditional ideas of a pastor, different ways she's made an impact on people, and her thoughts about being a pastor. So to wrap up, I thought I would tell you exactly what "Don't Drown Your Mario" means. And basically, if you've ever played the Super Mario Brothers game, there's an easy way to kill yourself, and that's basically by jumping in the water and drowning yourself. Basically, this can apply to real life. It's kind of telling you, don't drown your Mario, don't give up, keep fighting and going for the princess in the castle. And so I absolutely love it, and that's how I wanted to end my speech today.